fake Facebook man, posting lies about my life which no one else can. Filters on my face to disguise my age, showing money that I don't have. There's words on my page. Why don't you come on my team? It's called living the fake Facebook live dream. They post a pic of me deeply, but it's pizza and burgers for dinner, you know what I mean. A snapshot of vacations that I got no money to take. Send you one of my sports cars, you know that it's a fake. Got my walls loaded up with things that aren't even true. Pretending on Facebook is my thing too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2,000 friends, which I've never done met. A pic of my lunch is what you're gonna get. I had a post of your baby, say it's one darn cute kid. But I lied cause it's ugly, that's called an online fib. I talk about success in my job and the pending promotion, but in reality it's a psych, cause I got a demotion.
Only the fake Facebook
You blocked me on Facebook without your profile. I'll be treating you the next day with a shiny profile. See a picture of my family, yeah, we're having a good time. Well, the joke's on me, I'm not caught in 8 weeks or 9. I'll tell you about the weather and this I don't need to know. I'll fake good illness so this people grow. I'll ask you to donate to my made-up cause and post some feed on the daily that ain't breaking no laws. So don't judge the life of the fake Facebook man pretending to be happy like no one else can.
You know, over the last few hours, we've heard the word very often, sacrifice, make sacrifice. And the question is, who hasn't made sacrifices, either personally or professionally? For myself, my mother passed away 1.5 years ago, and my dad's been in Thunder Bay all alone. He was alone for Christmas, he's alone for Easter, and hopefully he won't be alone this summer. And it's simple. People say, well, just go to Thunder Bay and visit him. But the problem is you have a family here and you have friends and you have business associates. And if you travel to Thunder Bay, which is a COVID hotspot, there is a degree of probability you can catch that and bring that infection back here. So we're stuck. Everyone makes sacrifices. Small businesses and the people that watch the show are the reason why we have found success. When you see a sponsor banner on the show, when you see tons of trivia donations, when you see prizes given out daily, these prizes come from small businesses, not big corporations. We went to big corporations. They all said no. We went to mining companies and they said no. It's the small business owners. Some of these small business owners are just doing the very most they can possibly do to get by. And they're just getting by, and they still donate and give to this show when big corporations won't. So I don't pretend to be a scientist or understand the medical terminology, why COVID is spreading and how to stop it. But the one thing I honestly do know is that what we're doing isn't working because it's affecting the wrong people. And it starts with our small business owners. And our hearts go out to them. We spoke with many today and some were in tears. So our hearts go out to you. Our thoughts are with you. We're in the same position with you, and anything that Mark and I can do to help you through this, and we will. We're going to be releasing something soon to help our small business owners. We will do that. Now, time to bring on my good friend, Mr. Kinsman.
Well said, Mr. Klomp. Well said.
Was it weird without you by my side when I was?
No, but I was wondering where the feedback was. I think you put your mic on a little soon, but I'm not going to knock you for that. It's a trying time. We were supposed to have different guests on here tonight, but because of what's taken place earlier this afternoon, everybody was glued for the 1:30, which ended up being a 2:00 press conference from 4. Is that guy ever on time is my question anyhow, with the news of a 28-day. He's not calling it a lockdown, which is kind of weird. It's the emergency break for the province, basically painting all the health regions with the same brush. I know a lot of the province were under gray. You were talking about Thunder Bay, your hometown. They've been gray for a while. Toronto's been gray. Ottawa's been gray. But we were actually doing pretty good, orange and yellow. Yes, we've got some cases, but nowhere near, 400, down Sudbury Way and, in other necks of the woods. But, it's just one of those days. And, like you said, small businesses have come out of the woodwork. And this is where we will be making sure that we put the small businesses ahead, so they don't have to suffer over the 28 days because, we were talking about this even before the press conference, essential businesses, non-essential, to me, no matter what you're selling, if you're providing food for your family, no matter what it is, that's an essential service to the community. So telling me that I can't, go for a gym class or can't go lift weights, it's kind of a
yeah.
It's like a double-edged sword, right? They're letting some do this, where some are now, facing the crunch for 28 days, which is, crazy.
All right, Kinsman, I agree. We're going to chat about that some more, but first,
you certainly will.
2 amazing sponsors, right? Yes. Our friends at Timmins RV. What do you have to say about these wonderful people?
Wonderful people. Timmins RV is the Get S'more event on right now. $1,000 cash back, which always is a nice little perk. Don't pay for 6 months. Also a beautiful perk and financing options on site up to 20 years if you need it. Plus, they do appraisals on site for your old camper, your trailer, your RV while you're shopping for your newer RV. And obviously, with the restrictions now put back in place, you're best to place a call to book. Make sure you're within their 25% capacity so they can take you through a socially distanced tour of your new RV at Timmins RV. You can also shop online. All those beautiful RVs that we've been sitting through. We sat through the Sprinter. It's an amazing shop online at timminsrv.com. So again, get yourself in line for a camper because yes, dark days are happening now, but let's say we get past that next hurdle.
That's right.
Summer, it's going to be a beautiful one here.
That's right. And more people are actually going camping because it's one of the recreational activities that are open. So and they are awesome. Some of them are luxurious. Okay, so I want to talk about our newest sponsor, our awesome friends Kim and her team at the Surge.
I love the Surge. It is one of my favorite bars. Sports bars in this city, and has always been one of my favorite hot spots. When I first moved here over a decade ago, it was the hot spot. It was called Fusion at the time, and then the Surge has now taken that hot spot and has turned it back into the hot spot. And I'm looking so forward to joining the Surge for our 12-month term, which we just signed a few days ago.
Yeah, it first of all, it's an amazing place to go. When we were allowed to have friends visit us here in Timmins, I brought my friends from Thunder Bay to the Surge, and they're like, I didn't know Timmins had like such a nice place like that. So if you haven't been in there, you have to go inside. It's awesome. It had like a classy, clean, big city feel, but more important than that, it's just a good time to hang out with friends. Lots to do there. And yes, we're going to be spending a lot of time there when things open up again, and we got live variety shows happening. We're going to be there streaming a couple of these shows. We're going to be doing trivia and a bunch of other stuff. So it's going to be awesome. We're so excited to get going. We were extremely disappointed today because we had some things lined up for April.
Yes, we did.
We're a small business also, so we're also affected along with all our colleagues and friends. Like I said, all our sponsors are small business owners. This is a family to us. Our hearts are broken as much as yours, but like they support us. And we're going to do our best for this month now to support them, to say thank you. So, but we cannot wait to get in there and entertain, and it's going to be super fun. So I'm looking forward to that, as I know you are, Kinsman, and you're working on your comedy act, right?
Yeah, I'm going to work on my comedy act. We're going to trade off. You're going to try to make me funnier, and I'm going to make you a better golfer. Using the golf simulator there with Golf Timmins. And again, a beautiful place to hang your hat, go for a few bevies, have a few appetizers, watch the big game. We were chatting, Terry Lemaire in the city, getting set to prepare for his next big fight. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, fingers crossed, when his fight happens in the summer, we're back into the zone where we can get into, sitting in the Surge again, and we'll pop up his fight, fingers crossed, on the big screen, and support another local guy in a local club, with beautiful people from the Surge, and you would be there.
That's right. So there's Kim right there. Love you guys. Yes, Kim is part of the KINZ and KLOMP family now, her and her whole team. And as we are part of the Surge family, and you are right, Kim, we will make it through, all of us. Okay, so something cool. So yes, we're talking about the emergency break tonight. So if you can see this ticker at the bottom, and it says, check the comments to find out how you can join the show tonight. So I've posted it a couple times. What it is a link. So if you click on that link, it's StreamYard.com/ a bunch of numbers. You can actually join us on here if you want to discuss the emergency break, or maybe you want to tell us about an awesome April Fool's prank.
Yes. Either or would be great. And again, if you do come online, you're not just going to pop and go poof. We'll see you in our broadcast lobby, and then we'll know that you're there. And you'll know that you're on the show. Yeah. It's not going to be, blindsided and boom, here you are. But if you want to come on, join us and chat about, today's events. And let's talk about some rosier times. Maybe, of you getting pranked, like Jamie got pranked today. You had quite the prank, Jamie. What happened?
I did. First of all, you said rosier. I find you use a lot of terms from the 40s and 50s, kids. Do people say rosier times?
I am born in the
70s. Yes.
This isn't straight vodka either, by the way. I know James is probably going, I wonder if that's Loon vodka. No, it's water tonight.
So
Surprise.
For me, I always pulled pranks on my parents. Like when my sister was 16, we sent to my mom a fake letter from the health unit, said she was pregnant. My mom fainted and everything. We always were known for pranks on my parents. Well, today my son got me because he's a Lemieux. Well, my son came in with a fake ticket that said I got a $1,270 ticket for distracted driving. And, I thought no one could trick me. And he had me going, my heart was pumping. I'm like, oh, they caught me, and maybe I'll fight it. Maybe it was another bald guy on the camera. Maybe I'll blame it on my girlfriend.
He was driving, or when we were doing one of the coffee drops over the weekend.
So, yes, he did get me. But nonetheless, you can come on. You could talk about your favorite April Fool's prank. You could tell us your thoughts on the emergency break, how we can support local business. And if anyone joins us on the stream, it's not scary. Trust me. We're going to enter you into win a $25 beer gift card.
That's right.
We have it on us.
There it is. You know what's funny? I bought this card a few shows ago saying, we were going to give it away. And then we were giving away other stuff. And then it just kept, putting it off to the back burner. And, they always say things happen for a reason. Well, after Ford's announcement, who could use $25 to go to the beer store? So we're going to give you a few bottles for the fridge.
Good. Yes, we do. So, okay. So I do have a couple comments specifically to the emergency break. So thank you very much, Sparky or Paul. First, thanks very much for having us in the Cane Safety the other day with the donut and coffee drop off. But look, Kinsman, you said it perfectly. Lockdowns are not working. At least the lockdowns, how they are now, are not working. My opinion, and Paul's too. Something else needs to be done.
Yeah, it certainly does. And a lot of people, you see it online, but if you see it online, that means thousands of others are thinking of it. Just like you or I, we were talking, watching the Jays game this afternoon, right, Jamie? We said, we're 14 months now into this, and we're back into our third lockdown. What happened after the first and second? you look at places in the States where, we were watching the Jays, they were playing in New York, who had one of the worst cases for COVID, 10,000 some odd deaths a day. And here they are. They had people in the stands, baseball playing, people obviously wearing their masks. Yes, we're not trying to downplay the illness. We know the virus is very serious.
Yeah.
I actually know people who have had the virus, people locally have had the virus, have passed away from the virus. It's a real deal. But do we need to go through all these restrictions to, basically hitting a dead horse to get back, 28 days from now and have him, come back on at 1:30 on the 28th or 9th and say, boom, here we are now into June, right? We don't want to hear that.
Okay. Do you see? Agreed. Do you remember Shannon? She was just on the show.
Yes, Shannon, the mother of the KX Yard Care kids.
That's right.
Are on the show. Yes. And what does she say? Mental health needs to be considered. Our gyms and fitness centers are being affected, and some rely on this for their mental health. So sad to see. And it is so sad to see, because they were, just before all this happened with Doug Ford, they were saying, this time around, when everybody goes gray, we're going to have the barbershops and the hairdressers and the salons open. And they're also going to, allow the gyms to stay open. And then, boom, he has his press conference, and now it's all gone.
It's not just that. Shannon's got an excellent point. You go to the gym to stay physically fit, to stay active. Yes, of course. But the other piece also is correct. It's like, it is a mental health. It's a stress reliever. It's a chance for people to socialize. It's a chance just to get away from some of the negative things that are happening in their life, and it gives you positive energy. And when you take that away from people, usually positive things don't happen. So it is a big loss. And there's a lot of gyms in town. A lot of the business owners are deeply affected by this. We know a lot of them, right, Mark? A lot of them are really upset. And it is a big loss. And the common question people ask, and I get it, I can go, and it's been said 1,000 times, I can go to Walmart and be there with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
But I can't go to the gym with 10.
There was lineups today, in anticipation of his press conference. People lined up, you're in close quarters already. I'm going to go to the weight section of Walmart and, do a fitness class there. What's it like?
So back to Kim, we're completely shut down. So heartbreaking at the surge, and it's devastating. It's not just Kim and Luke; it's also their employees that they're thinking of, and those people are going to be without a paycheck, and they have families to support, and homes and rents and mortgages and car bills and groceries. It affects everyone, and I get it when someone has to make a decision, and when the medical experts come out and the premier speaks, they probably have a lot more knowledge in front of them than we have. But what is missing is that they're going back to paid jobs. And I understand they're working long hours, and it's not an easy task to make these decisions. But they're making decisions for people who are going to be losing income, and they're going to still have a steady income. So it's a little bit easier to tell people to make sacrifices when you still have an income coming in.
Well, that's it. And their paychecks, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say they get paid a little bit more than the CERB that is offered for, people affected within the next 28 days or who have to file for EI. And, let's take filing for EI. It's going to take, probably 28 days to, with the holding pattern that they have with the government. And by the time, you see your first pay from the government, the lockdown will be over, and then let's say it is over and we get back to work, which we're hoping we do, then you've still gone without a paycheck for 28 days. So there is a lot of people suffering with, the lack of pay, which is also why this little comment, can I read a comment? Or you read Janice's Jamie first, and I'll read this. I've got a fax or an email.
You got a fax. You're back to the 70s again.
Back to the 70s.
You got a fax. Okay. Do you know what a tweet is, Kinsman?
I do know what a tweet is.
I'm just checking. Lockdowns aren't working because they basically quarantined us for months on months and put our immune systems, made them weak. We don't socialize. So when these stupid lockdowns are lifted, of course, everyone's going to run loose like wild chickens. That's why these cases start to climb. Absolutely right. Because it's like, you know, if you're locked in your house for so long, and God, I love my kids, I'll do anything for my kids. But when you're locked in your house for so long, and when you have an opportunity to go out and be with your friends for a little while, just outside the house, sometimes you let a little loose. And Janice is right. That's exactly what's happening. It's you held people in for too long. Brad says, work out at home or do yoga or Pilates. Yes, you can do that. But then once again, that's just another activity that you have to do at home.
Well,
but it's a suggestion. Okay, let's read this. What was a Morse code that you got? Or what?
Facts. Yes, the facts came in. I just dated myself there, right? Born in 78, the old person-ism will come out. But this is, I saw this online today, and I thought it would be fitting for tonight's show. Due to the lockdown commencing on Sunday at midnight, here's the challenge. This person is challenging all their friends to delete the skip the dishes and the Uber Eats and DoorDash off their phones. Instead, call the restaurants here in the city and order from your favorite place. Take the 5 to 15 minutes to pick it up. Go for a drive because you're obviously going to have time to drive, you know, with everything being restricted. Third-party delivery platforms are costing restaurants, it says, 15 to 30% of each order you make when you order from these apps. Most restaurants cannot afford these additional costs right now, especially with, you know, indoor dining and outdoor dining being put on the back burner. So please consider curbside pickup on your next restaurant order. And it ends with a heart to save your favorite restaurant. So that's why I thought that would be a fitting piece to read on tonight's show. And maybe in the comments, if you have, you know, an establishment where you're now, you know, considered, you know, for curbside pickup, or I guess, you know, delivery, if you can place takeout orders, you know, jot them down in the comments. We'll post them up. And, you know, if the restrictions have been restricted enough, or maybe one of the businesses that is now restricted to 1 or 2 patrons, you know, jot it down in the comments, and we'll try to steer people to your business.
All right, Kinsman, 1,000% agreed, and that's what I'm going to be doing. Now, we have a ton of comments I want to be able to show you here.
Okay.
Okay, so Paul, again, we're going to the Surge tonight to get some golfing. Thank you so much. It's awesome there.
Love
it's
Paul.
Fun,
yes.
And I suck at golf, and I have a great time.
Here's this one from Miklos. Mike, I'm going to call him Mike here. Let's just adapt. And for all these places that are shutting down, order 1 row of shelving stock. Stock it with can good and bread and broom your essential modern solutions. Am I reading that wrong?
Well, that's what he wrote, but he's offering a pretty good suggestion there. I think he's joking a bit though, but you know, at the end of the day, what I think here is that it's back to your message. If there's a place where maybe you're thinking about going on Amazon, or you're thinking about ordering from a big business, check out some of our local suppliers.
That's right.
Our local business could have that.
And I should also mention, you know, when you hear, I always hear this the odd time saying, you know, these, you know, national companies that are within small communities, keep in mind, some of these national companies, you know, for instance, Canadian Tire, you know, Eastside Mario's, yes, they're franchisees of the franchise, which means they are locally operated and owned.
Yep.
So make sure you support all, and don't use the, well, I'm going to shop locally because they're local and this is, you know, a national chain where they have bucks. Not necessarily the case, because these local owners are still, you know, trying to make a buck here in the city.
Guy Lamarche, no rhyme, no reason. Agreed. That was my comment. Today's announcement will have collateral damage for Ford Nation. His energy should be directed to fight the feds of the flawed vaccine rollout. This lockdown will take down many businesses, big and small. Many are taking disobedience to safeguard what's left. It's about to get ugly. Enough already.
It certainly is. And he mentions the vaccine rollout, where, you know, some are wondering, how are some getting, you know, one of the cases that just popped up here in the city from extended care, didn't they just get vaccines? And then, you know, seeing the doctors talking during the press conferences today, stating that it's 1 dose, and then you have to wait a little bit for the second dose. And that's where the rollout is now being blamed, because there's not enough dosages to, I don't even think the second dose is even near here yet. Or is it? So people are waiting, and they don't know what the length of time is between, the first and the second to be, an effective, fight toward this virus. And, I'm sure cases are popping up because of that.
When it comes down to it, Ford, after consultation with public health officials, made the decisions. Lockdown. Yeah, that's right. I mean, you would know that the premier would have more information than the general public would have to make the decision he feels what's best for the province. My only opinion there is that we've been through a couple of these lockdowns. It doesn't seem like we're getting any better long term. I understand that there is a bit of a dip, when these things are in lockdown, but it just seems to have a more negative effect on our business and economy than it has a positive effect on the health of the province. That's my opinion. But definitely the premier makes the decisions based on consultation with public health officials. He doesn't just sit there and flip a coin. We understand that completely.
Remember when we were watching this afternoon on that ticker screen, you hear Ford and his party always say, we're doing this because the ICU numbers are very high. So and so, it's always ICU numbers. And then there was that on the tickers tape. You brought it to my attention where it read that one of the top ICU doctors in this province said, quit blaming the ICU numbers on your lockdowns and so-called quote unquote emergency breaks.
Yeah, that's right. Joanna will be spending another birthday in lockdown. Well, we'll sing happy birthday to you, Joanne, anytime on the show. We hope that it's still joyous, even though he had to spend it in lockdown. It is nice to get out in your birthdays. All right, Kinsman, it's your turn to read a comment.
Yep, Shannon says, we should find a way to do 50-50 draws for different small businesses that have and are being affected. I'm sure the community would come together like they did and are currently doing for the hospital draws, which is a good idea.
I have a question. So 50-50. So obviously there's a few big 50-50s in the city that are ran quite successfully, but I've seen other ones that were ran either by the Timmins Rock or some smaller organizations that had some issues. Now, I don't know if it's a licensing issue or if it's you just didn't fill out the right paperwork. I'm not too sure, but I see some are ran and then some are closed down. But it's a great idea if they can find a way to do 50-50s. And find a way to support these businesses, because everyone loves a 50-50.
Yeah, certainly do. And, the TDH, I know Timmins Humane Society currently have their 50-50s going on right now. Gary says, when most of these cases are located in big markets like Toronto, why not lock them down for 28 days and truly hit them with fines if they travel out of their zones, which is a good thought because even driving around the city, you can see plates from outside of the city. Have they been here all this time? Usually when you move here, you're supposed to change your plate. But I drove past a BC plate over the weekend. And I said, are these people here? Or how did they get here? Or, you see them coming out of a hotel. And then, of course, now they're into the lockdown. That poses some other issues.
Well, Toronto and the Peel health units, and I think there's a couple more, have been in this gray zone lockdown for a period of time. Once again, they have to be feeling the crunch there also. And, we think of Toronto like as a big city center, but there's also a lot of local businesses there too that are suffering and closing down. And I'm sure they're feeling a lot of the same things we're feeling. Yeah. But you're right. In the north, you can definitely see the difference between our numbers, despite a recent spike here, between us and our partners in the south. And it can feel, and it does feel to me, that we're being punished because of the issues in the south to a degree.
Or being painted with the same paintbrush, as they say. And because of that, it affects all of us, including another email coming in tonight from Gina Faca and crew at Imagine Cinema 6, who are big sponsors and partners with us here at KINZ and KLOMP Live. They wanted to read. I'll read you the press release here that they just issued this afternoon. It's official as of Saturday night, April 3rd. Ontario will be moving into lockdown, and we will have to close. Don't miss your chance to see Godzilla versus Kong on the big screen tomorrow. They've actually opened up 6 theaters, 6 different times for Godzilla and Kong. Grab your tickets now at imaginecinemas.com before everything goes into lockdown. And for patrons with tickets for the weekend and next week, the process right now, Gina says, for refunds automatically, and it will be sent through email confirmation back to you. And she also wants to thank you so much for your support over the past few weeks. We can't wait to see you tomorrow for Godzilla. And then again, once they reopen again, sincerely, Gina Facca and crew at Imagine Cinema 6.
Right. I am posting the link again. If anyone wants to join us on the live feed, I'm putting that in the comments section right now. No one wants to join us, Kismet. I don't blame them. So thank you, Gina Facca, the whole Timmins, Imagine Cinema 16, big supporters, as we are of them, and we love them. And Godzilla versus King Kong, I haven't seen it. I don't know any spoilers, but I'm going with
trailer looks good. Trailer looks really good.
With Kong, and I don't want to hear it's a draw. Okay, I don't like that. I want Kong all the way. You?
Good. I'm gonna. Well, if you're going Kong, I'll have to go Godzilla, right? I think
Godzilla. You're always debating. You never agree with me, Kinsman. Okay. Mike says, "I wish it was Chuck Norris because the virus doesn't stand it." Yeah, the virus doesn't stand a chance against Chuck Norris. Tammy's commenting back to Shannon's comment about the 50-50. It's a long process, and I'm sure it is a difficult process. And Shannon, follows up. I imagine it could be with licenses, and that's what I heard too. So
yeah,
you're right. You probably need someone who really knows what they're doing. Okay, so we got. Let's see here. They got a whole ton of comments here, Kinsman.
Okay, while you're searching there, can I read another one from Colleen Landers at Sports for Kids Timmins? She just sent me a message tonight. Their office is now closed for in-person applications, but can be reached by phone or email all the time at sportsforkidstimmins.com. So again,
Colleen, love Colleen, yes, and the work that they do for the community. Gary Bailey, this is the second time we're laying a Leaf fan comment. I agree with you on the Jays, Gary Bailey, but that's
read Gary. You're going to read Gary.
I'll read Gary.
Okay.
Gary says, "Go Sens, go!" No, he says, "I have an idea on how to raise money for small businesses while the lockdown is on. Every show, you guys should sell squares of $20 each with 50 squares available, and then $1,000 is raised, 500 going to the winner, and 500 going to the small business." That's really cool. That is
pretty cool idea. We should fire something up like that. I think I like where Gary's thinking. And again, we'll have to check and see if there's any legalities involved with that.
Yeah, that's great idea. Well, we should chat with Gary after the show. So Gila Marsh, Dr. Tam gets a failing grade. Her advice has been flawed from the start. The provincial top doc is being questioned by many doctors for her advice, which seems flawed as well. Time to review them. I agree. Like something. We're not doctors, right, Kinsman? We're not specialists, but something
far from it
off. And I'm not, I believe that COVID is very serious. It's very serious. A lot of people have suffered from it, so that's not where I'm going here. It just seems within the last 13 months now, should we have not been in a better position? Maybe I'm just making assumptions.
Well, it's like we're beating a dead. It's that terminology, beating a dead horse. One lockdown didn't quite work. Second lockdown hasn't worked. We're now into the third lockdown. And, people, from the conspiracy side, they posted a link with, almost like a timetable to where it's matching line per line into the third lockdown. There's going to be a fourth one at the end of the summer. Like, when does it end? Right?
Joanne, my immune system is great. I walk daily, but my mental state is gone. The puppet master needs to go. And there's our friend Chris at Timmins Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Obviously, being sarcastic.
A little sarcastic here. He says, "I'm super excited to shut down my business for a third time. Love it."
It's not just that, though. I mean, him and his wife both own small businesses
that are both affected by this.
That's right. And that's both of that's their family income, both businesses, and both get shut down
for 28 days.
Yeah. And this is for the third time. So it's just, I don't know, it's just like you start something and you go and you just automatically stop. It's just like slamming your car. You stop it. And then you rev it up and you go and you slam and you stop it. Eventually the car is going to fall apart.
Yeah, it's going to start falling apart.
Chevy Cruze fall apart right away. But you know what I mean, right? It's not supposed to be this way. And I heard the premier talk today about the funding that is for the businesses, which is great. I wonder, he said qualified businesses. I just wonder what the percentage of qualified are.
You know what he should say? He should go back. Like I heard that too. Whenever you hear the word qualified, it's like you're sitting around, trying to, purchase a car loan or a house loan or a mortgage. Where this isn't. You're basically trying to stay alive and float.
Yeah.
Where he should say, you know what? Everybody's gonna get the money, and then we'll iron it out down the road. Here's your 40 grand. Like send it out to all the businesses if they really want to truly help. This is where they send 40,000 to all these businesses. And say, okay, here's your shot for 28 days. Here's your money. Here's your money. Here's your money. Here's your money. That's the way I would work on it. But obviously, they have to put in the process of applying, which I think is kind of silly.
When I went to go buy my first car, the dealership said everyone is qualified
except for you.
Nope, to apply. Of course, everyone can fill out an application. Okay, the car is different. All right, this one's yours, Kinsman.
It's all in the wording. Sybil says it's an absolute crock of poop.
Shit.
Enough of this power tripping the governments are on. Just my opinion, but it's time for people to wake up and smell the coffee. They are not only destroying our country, they're destroying people's rights to live. Just saying, time to live again, not just exist.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't agree with Sybil more.
Yeah, absolutely. You're allowed to say a couple curse words because Mitch isn't here tonight, and he takes up the 2 or 3 we're allowed. So
right. I think Richard Soodle got one the other night when he was on, didn't he?
Well, look at Chris. I'm coming. What did I do to him? He's coming for me.
He's coming for you.
Well, I don't want to give too many things away, but there may be something interesting coming up there. And I've been doing a lot of push-ups and sit-ups.
Mat manager, I guess, when it comes to.
So we're gonna have. So I don't want to give it all away, but we're gonna have some nice surprises for our stuff at the Surge, and I'm not worried there.
No, it's gonna be fun, and again, part of the entertainment. Yeah. When we get back out of this lockdown. Guy says, of note, none of these people making the call or influencing the call have lost 1 cent of their livelihood since this started. If anything, they have been earning more given all the OT. No kidding.
Boom. That's exactly like I love this comment. Once again, it's really easy to say, make a sacrifice. We'll get through it. It won't be that long. It's easy.
It's only 28 days.
Yeah. It's easy to say that when you have a sustainable, healthy paycheck. When you're on the other side and you need to stay open 5, 6, 7 days a week, and you're the only person that works in your business because you cannot pay staff at the moment, that's difficult to hear because it's not as easy as they're making. So, I would love to see someone stand up and say, I'm not taking a paycheck this month.
No.
Not saying they're not working hard, but they are. But no one's in the position where they have to worry about in 2 weeks, can they pay their mortgage? Can they get groceries? The heating bill, the taxes. Can my kids play recreational activities? A lot of these are legitimate concerns for a lot of people. And a lot of these people are small business owners. They own their business. And a lot of times you aren't a millionaire because you own a small business. You own it because you want to be your own boss. You're passionate about what you do and you love the customer service end. But and at some point you are financially sound. But you know what? Some of these folks have really hurt this year, and it's just easy to say it when you have money in your bank account.
Well, that's it. It's easy to say also when he's reading off of a teleprompter and noting that he's making not only a paycheck, but the paycheck is paid for by you and I, the taxpayers, right? That's where they're getting their money from. And I can guarantee you they're not getting paid the measly $2,000 every 2 weeks through CERB. And, they don't face the consequences of, what happens if I don't have the money to pay this back at tax time. They don't have any of the ramifications. It's easy to sit there and read in front of a teleprompter, which I'm sure that they do have at these press conferences.
No, yeah. Of course, there's teleprompters, but let's see. Local businesses are suffering with every lockdown. We need to support them in every way possible. I'm fortunate enough to work through lockdowns as my place of work is essential. It's not easy, but my bosses are supportive and do their best to keep us all safe at work. So wherever you work, Lori, sounds like you work for an excellent employer.
I know where she works. She works at Pick of the Crop.
Oh, I love Pick. Yeah, yes. I'm in there a couple times a week.
Yeah. I was just in there the other day, and I was going to go through her cashier. Then they pushed me off to the other one, so I didn't really get a chance to say hello to Lori. But Lori's been working there for years. and years. And again, I picked up, they've got the ready to go meals.
Mhm.
Absolutely amazing in there. And again, Lori, if you've got any curbside details you want to pass along, post it in the thread, and we'll pass it along tonight. I know Chris was just commenting earlier. Chris, if there's a way to get gift certificates or bookings for classes, post it in the comments, and we'll get people headed your way. Even for Float 11 Yoga Studios, gift certificates, as it said in this.
Yeah.
The facts, he made fun of me, the facts that came in, if you could take a time to, buy a gift card for a business now, might not need it now. Obviously, we're locked down for 28 days, but the money goes instantly into that business's pockets, and you can use that card for a future, date or time for a booking. But the essential part and the vital part is that money comes out right now. So let's say a $50 gift card times $50 gift cards, you're going to have a bunch of money that's going to be sitting there, obviously in times of need, which is right now.
Timmins Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, I know that they offer Zoom classes still, and it's $50 a month, and he offers curbside for all their very awesome merchandise. Joanne, I saw the COVID tent that was set up the RVH hospital in Barrie. It's very scary looking, I bet. And she had an appointment there in January.
A little bit worse down there. And that's what's Barrie saying there?
Okay. Me again. Okay. On the other end, I'm concerned about the price of building materials. Sure, demand has gone up, but the price gouging is sure to affect jobs. I'm sure. I absolutely. This is another offset issue. And, the simple thing to look at is the whole toilet paper demand, right? I remember walking into a convenience store when the first toilet paper demand had 8 rolls were like $27. And I remember I said, okay, what's happening here? And they said,
Lysol.
Yeah, and they told me that's their regular price, but a month later they were $7.99. So that's right; it's the offset. The building materials and all the other things that we're talking to the folks at Timmins RV. Hard to get parts for these RVs, so it becomes a supply and demand type issue.
Right.
And many
talking to David Sean Rowell at Timmins RV, the units that they have, which they are the largest stocked dealership for RVs here in Timmins and surrounding area. What they have is what they have. If you're saying I'm going to wait for, the bright red one, you might not get it due to the fact that they can't ship the bright red one here. But they do have a nice supply. And again, go visit them online at timminsrv.com.
This is a good comment, Kinsman. I can only see half your body.
It's a big one. This is from Janny Stone. She says, it's hard to understand. It's hard to leave with it's hard to put your trust in others. But if we look at how severe Australia did their lockdowns and how they have pretty much gotten rid of it, some places haven't seen a positive case since last August because of a 4-month severe lockdown. It sucks, but it worked. I talked to two Australian women often. One said they have gone mask-free due to 0 cases since August. So the lockdowns do work. It's just, are the ones that they're implementing for us here, are they working?
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's from Janny. And this is Janice. She says, I honestly think this lockdown should have been regionally, which I also agree.
Yeah, it's like back to Janny's comment. Other countries have found success in their programs, and I'm not too sure how much there is collaboration or, if the province is just deciding to do things based on their medical experts. But you think they would benchmark other countries who had found success.
Or ask. Yeah, it's almost like they're too embarrassed to ask. It's almost like, how dare I ask my neighbor, because it looks like they're, higher up than us. But you know what? If it worked for them, what blueprint do they have? And why can't they come here and teach us, or sit in front of the Ford Nation press conference and say, here's how we did it. Here's what you guys should do.
I saw a Manitoba plate, Quebec plates yesterday, and Kinsman, you saw a BC.
I saw a BC plate yesterday. So where are all these people coming from?
They say to do this, it's to avoid travel between cities. That's bull. How are you gonna? There is a small percentage of people that are traveling still, small percentage. How do you stop that? You can't unless
You can't unless you had highway checkpoints.
Well, then we become a militant country,
Well,
which
that's it.
is not the Canadian way of life. Maybe we'll get there at some point, but that will cause a whole bunch of democratic type issues, I would assume, from folks. But you're right. How do you stop these people without the checkpoints?
You don't. And how do you know where these people are? Like the car that I was talking to you about, the one from BC, was coming out from a hotel here in the city. You know, are they staying here long term? Are they just here a little bit? Are they dropping someone off? You don't know. Is there a conference going on at these hotels? Now with, the lockdown in place as of Saturday, are people in the city that need to, disperse and get out of here? What happens with those people?
Lots of comments, Kinsman, to get to, so I'm going to keep rolling. Ringette season is canceled. Gymnastics to follow with the release coming soon, apparently. I'm going to assume hockey and extra circulation sports are canceled. And kids are resilient. I agree. But if you're a young lad or young lady that's playing sports, whether it's ringette, gymnastics, jiu-jitsu, hockey, I've had kids in all these sports. When you lose that, you don't have it, it's limited. It does take an effect because that's socialization. That's fun. That's a chance for them to get exercise. We're always telling kids, get off the video games, and this is when they go get off the video games and do these recreational type sports. Organized sports, and taking that away from them for like the second year in a row has an effect on their mental health too. I agree. So
sure does.
A lot of folks. Okay. Tammy says, yes, they run the small business auctions page. It's on Facebook. Very cool. Where small businesses can come on and they do auctions in support of the business. We know Chad at Elite Geeks was just doing one, and he was auctioning off some of his very cool gaming consoles. So they're doing awesome work. Check out Tammy's Facebook page or the small business auctions page. Very cool work to support small businesses.
And I think we're going to bring back our small business panels for Thursdays to, bring to the forefront what their businesses are and how to, get gift certificates.
Float 11 is the recipient this week.
Awesome. Yes. So Tessa's going to, reel in, some much needed money. And that is awesome to see. And again, Tammy, thanks for all the amazing things that you do. That site is amazing, seeing all the support going back into, again, the small businesses here in the city.
You guys should get Johnson's Creek to do a live show on KINZ and KLOMP. Yes, we should reach out to them. They were supposed to perform at the Vic not this weekend, next.
No, next Friday and Saturday. Now, I messaged Randy today, and I didn't get an answer back, so I can't speak on behalf of Randy, but I'm pretty sure they're going to try to, reschedule Johnson's Creek later on.
Johnson's Creek put out a post and says when they come back, it's going to be one heck of a party. So
excellent. And we still have our we've got 4 tickets. We were going to give away tickets, but we'll hang on to them until we get the rescheduled date. But hang on to those tickets because, again, that's revenue that it's still in the pockets of the bands and the bar, and in this case, Randy at the Vic. That's the last thing they need, especially after what happened today. You don't want to have the phone call ring and say, I want a refund. Hang on to your tickets, wait for the rescheduled date, and we'll keep you up to date here on KINZ and KLOMP Live.
Many businesses are talking about organizing a movement that would oppose government. For many, it's do or die. Stay tuned for civil disobedience sooner or later. And that may, if you push someone to the brink now, a third lockdown, and they're looking at a crisis, something like that could legitimately happen. We hope it doesn't. But it's, sometimes there's no other choice. Okay, fuck, this sucks. Yeah, so Sonia's right.
That's Sonia at Lemongrass. It certainly does.
And I probably said that exact term about 55 times today. 5 minutes of cursing for Mark. So you can take 5. He does his cursing off the show. KINZ is too much.
Right. If you speak with me off air, I swear like a sailor. It's almost like I get rid of it before the show.
Yeah, that's right.
I talk all nice and calm, and then I get back into the potty mouth afterwards.
Sonia's right. It's never just 28 days because we heard this before. Last March.
Well, we heard it last March, and they in the end of his conference today, he says, let's get to a better quote unquote summer to where we know what happened last summer. We got rid of Rock of the River. There was nothing going on. We were basically trapped until it was almost to the tail end of summer into fall before we even saw the light of the lockdown.
Some of us have not had a pay since December. So can you imagine? You're at home and you're used. Well, you depend on a constant paycheck, like we do, and like most people we know do. And now you haven't had any since December.
Yeah,
that's incredibly stressful, incredibly difficult, and you could see why people feel the way that they do right now. Understandably. My heart goes out to them. Kim, bottom line for me is my staff and customers are suffering. My staff has stood behind us through all of this. My customers day shift, no one but us. But number one is keeping staff and customers safe. Yes, so they have a loyal customer base. It's just an amazing place to surge. And I know what Kim's saying there. She's very fortunate to have staff and customers that are understanding and standing by them. But that's why Kim's heartbroken, because this place for her customers to come enjoy, and her staff that are depending on the sustainable income. She's carrying a lot on her shoulder, as are all the other local business owners. I'm sure Ford is not lacking anything.
No, it's not. That's a true comment, because they always say, they're not in our shoes to feel what it's like to go, oh my gosh, I don't have a pay coming in.
That's right.
You heard you saw the comment from Sonia from December for most. Talking to Janice Bell Hansel from Beaches and Dreams Travel here in the city. She helped us out with our Defeat the Morning Grind last week with a coffee donation. She hasn't seen a paycheck in 10 months.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of strange that we're talking about going to lockdown, but on the Jays broadcast today, they talked about the Texas Rangers home opener, which they're playing the Jays, having a full crowd. So first of all, go Jays, go. We're 1-0. That's exciting. Yes. Obviously, I'm excited, right? Look at me. But he's right. So in Texas, Rangers, they're going to fill out their stadium, which is 40,000 plus people.
Yeah, I think 50,000 plus.
50,000. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, it's just...
Two different worlds. So, even watching the broadcast today, New York, where we know you don't even have to ask how the caseload was down there. They were burying, people passing away due to COVID, in truckloads and burying them into the parks. And, you see people playing a normal baseball game with, they said, yes, minimal capacity, but there were still people watching that baseball game in New York City where they were averaging 10,000 deaths a day. With COVID, they're probably still averaging deaths a day, but they're just slowly moving back into a bit of normalcy down there.
If we're in lockdown, I don't want to see that chubby ass Ford on TV for 28 days.
No,
we all have to stay home. He better be broadcasting from his hot tub.
He's bleeping hot tub.
So obviously, yes, another sense of frustration. There you
go.
He
says if anyone wishes to do curbside pickups or delivery, they can contact Pick of the Crop at 705-268-3635 and speak with our store manager, Isabel, or produce manager, Rob or Jerry. Thanks, Lori, for that. Wayne says, to me, it just seems like every holiday we seem to get shut down. The entertainers are also suffering every time we get closed down. True fact. Yeah, the artists, the musical industry, they haven't seen a paycheck or a live gig show paycheck since, last February, when talks of the lockdowns were starting to come into play.
Yep. Yeah. It's awful. It's awful for them too. Lori, Kim, I thought of you today when the lockdown was announced. Looking forward to seeing you at Pick of the Crop. Miss our COVID rants. Yeah. And there's Gary Bailey.
What does Gary say? He says, I think people are blaming the wrong guy, to be honest. Ford is following the guidelines sent down by the Ministry of Health. Imagine if he said, I do not want to listen to them, and the COVID virus breaks out even more. Who gets the blame for that? It really sucks this is happening again, but 25 cases today is extremely high, and yes, it is extremely high.
Yeah, and I think that, once again, to Barry's comment, the Premier has a lot more information and experts around him, the information that we're not accessible to us. My only thought in it, once again, is that it seems like we're doing the same thing again, for the third time, and it really hasn't worked long term the last 2 times. So to me, there should be some sort of adjustment based on my knowledge, which is limited just based on what I've seen. So that's my thought. But of course, we know it's just not Doug Ford making this whole decision.
No, and he's pointing blame too. Doug was pointing blame at Trudeau for the slow pace of the vaccine rollout. The vaccine rollout was supposed to be so efficient to curb. Obviously, it's not going to cure COVID, but it prevents you from getting any of the symptoms or picking it up, bettering your chances, I should say. But if it requires 2 doses, is why are we only getting 1 dose now in limited fashion, and the second dose isn't even close? And then you're hearing cases pop up because the second dose wasn't even close to being given out yet.
My brother lives in New York, and they are starting concerts at Madison Square Gardens. So once again, another example. Is Klomp 3-0 on the swears? Yes, Klomp has sworn 3 times.
You can tell who's got the youngest kids out of you or I. My little guys, 5 and 3. I can't really get into the potty mouth too often. I'm usually pretty good.
Gary agrees with me. We don't agree on hockey, but we agree on this. So that's good. Thank you, Gary. Good. And Barry, the last lockdown showed some results. The COVID variants of concern seem to be playing the role in increased numbers. Look at Sudbury alone. So yes, of course, they mentioned that today in the press conference, coming out of the lockdown, that there was a decline in numbers, and there is the variant. But once again, I'm just looking at the overall pictures. We've done it twice. I just feel, but it's a gut feel again, right? It's a gut feel. We should have been in a better position. So that's just how I feel. People have different opinions. There is no right or wrong when it comes to this, because none of us are experts. I just feel like, what are we just going to continuously go through this every few months to shut down and they spike up?
Well, that's it. If it is, I'm not saying it. You hear that comment where, is it like a flu? Okay, it might be like a flu where some people get it, some people don't. But when you do get this virus, it obviously can be lethal, deadly for some who do get it. So we do have to, yes, you got to wash your hands, you wear your mask. But are all these restrictions necessary? As just looking at tonight's sports story, the Vancouver Canucks, they postponed their game for tonight due to 3 of the teammates having close contact with a COVID-19. Someone on the team has it, and they say they've stopped play for them till middle of next week. So if it was that serious, would they not have just, canceled the entire team and said, you know what, let's end hockey play for Vancouver? No, they're, those 3 are off isolating or self-isolating, and they're going to continue playing hockey next week with 3 people who just had COVID.
Yeah. Gary, I'm concerned because I got to go to Sudbury on Tuesday for my results. 30 to 40 cases a day is extreme compared to us here. Yeah. So Gary needs to go, obviously. But right, that is a point of concern that he has to go there.
He has to travel. That's right.
The government should have been much more aggressive the first 2 weeks of the pandemic.
Certainly. And
I agree with that.
Well, here's something to add to Sonia's. They should have been more vigilant when it comes to international travel. They're talking about these variants from the UK, from Brazil, all parts of the world. How are they getting in international travel? You shut down international travel. Do those variants get from point A to point B, which is Canada?
Right.
And in this case, some in Ontario, and the last few cases here have been tied to the UK variant. So how did the UK variant get here? Through international travel. They should have shut down the borders a long time ago, which they've, the Canadian-U.S. border, yes, but for international flights, you look online, if you have a flight tracker, there's multiple flights. I think there's 30 flights from China a day coming into Canada still.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's insane.
Yeah.
Blame needs to be put on people who disrespect social distancing and those who keep gathering in big groups.
Yeah,
this is how it spreads. We are doing so well in Timmins as far as numbers, but we are being punished for the big cities in Ontario who aren't respecting distancing and staying at home. So I would say, based on my observations, the majority of people are wearing masks, social distancing the best that they can, washing their hands. But you're right. There are pockets of people who don't respect social distancing. They do have their large gatherings. and don't wear masks and feel like that's, I guess, a restriction of their freedom, which is their right to feel. And there are, and I would assume there has been cases where that has caused the spread.
Well, it's people who think they're not going to get it, or maybe the younger generation, because
but I didn't like that today, because Ford came out and he did blame it on, like, I felt he blamed it on the younger generation, and there's probably pockets of examples where that happened, but is that all because of the younger generation? I don't know.
Is it really the younger generation's fault, or is it us as parents to, say to our younger generation and say, you shouldn't be out there, gathering, let's say your teens out with a 30 plus crew for partying, because, hearing, this is just hearsay through the city that one of the cases was tied to, some teens who were having a party here in the city.
All right.
True or not, but again, why were the teens in that position to party with 30 plus people?
Well, hold on a second. I mean, yes, I agree, but you were 17, 18 once. You didn't sneak off to a kid party?
Well, I did, but maybe not during COVID.
Well, there was no COVID back then.
COVID wasn't back then.
I don't agree. If that's what happened, that's completely awful, but sometimes we forget what it's like to be a teenager.
And especially in a lockdown, now the kids have to go through 28 days. What's going to happen now? We've got the April break, which was supposed to be the March break, coming up. Is that still going to happen? They were talking about schools and daycares are still going to be, able, and I guess able to continue.
Yep.
As of next week.
I'll get through. We got a few more here. You guys rock. We have your back as much as you have ours. My heart breaks for small business owners.
It really does.
About any way, please feel to call us as I am. Please feel the call as I'm unemployed for 4 weeks. Yeah, reach out to Kim. She's awesome.
Well, you know what? Let's we should get Kim, and we'll get Kim on one of our episodes for Small Business Night for Thursday. Yeah. We'll chat about all the amazing stuff at the Surge and get another business panel going.
Why didn't the government? I agree. Why didn't the government shut down everywhere when it should have been just places that cases were higher? Why didn't the government shut down everywhere? So I guess there's two ways of looking at this. I've seen two arguments: just shut down the places where they're at high, like the hot zones, or just completely shut down everywhere. And just go through the shutdown for a month or 2 months. We're talking like you can only leave your house underneath work and for food and medical appointments. Complete shutdown. Right. Or just shut down the hot zones. Two different perspectives. I don't know where I stand. I just feel the one they have right now makes no sense at all.
Any other comments from Janice? Yeah. There's no better tools in place to fight this. They need to pull their pants up and figure this shit out. There you go, Janice.
You bad
now
boy.
And ask other countries how they did it, because everyone is going to end up sick. Like when you send your kid to school for the first time, they always get sick, and then here we are, a bunch of kindergarten kids again, right? It goes back to growing back in my day, the mud pies in the backyard, right? I think we all did that. You've eaten sand, this is how you build your immune systems. And again, Janice is right. Our immune systems are going to be so not used to anything. So yes, we're fighting off COVID and, wearing our masks. But, the common, they even said that last year. They said, sometimes, with everybody wearing the mask, a common cold, or if someone just got the common flu, could still be deadly for some people because their immune system hasn't been out in the real world to, where we've been touching doorknobs and handshakes and, kissing and all that fun stuff, right? So
why would the province allow students to go to school? Too many cases to risk the teachers and the students. The one of the official responses I've heard to this is because it's for the mental well-being or the mental health of the students.
Mental well-being for the kids' sake, yes.
That's the reason they're giving. I don't think my son would. He's right beside me. Come here. Yeah. Would you have a mental breakdown if they canceled school for the rest of the year?
I'd be happy.
Okay.
Aiden would be happy.
So,
all right.
I just did an interview with an actual participant. Chris Gill, there's zero signs supporting lockdowns and masks. Studies show this. Everyone is looking away from the facts. And there is, a strong group of people that feel that, the masks aren't helping and the lockdowns aren't helping. I definitely feel I can definitely understand why they feel the lockdowns the way we're doing them aren't effective. And you're right. We had an earlier comment says it is the variants. So we're fighting a stronger version
That's it.
of COVID now. So that could be part of the reasons. But once again, when you go through 3 lockdowns and the other 2 really didn't resolve anything, you can see why people feel maybe this isn't working.
Well, and you just hit the nail on the head right there. The variants are creating different mutations of the virus. So it's just like, this is where you can compare it to a cold or a flu. Every year you go for a flu shot, you need to go back and get a new flu shot every single year, which is for a different strain, where there's going to be different strains of COVID. So really, these variants, we're going to have to learn to coexist. When it comes to COVID-19, we're going to have to find a happy medium and say, you know what, this is what it's doing. And you're seeing that right now in the U.S. where they're saying we're not going to wear our masks. We're going to go back and fill Madison Square Garden again. We're going to pack Texas Stadium for the Jays in Texas game in a few days, 50,000 plus, and say, you know what, we're just going to roll the dice and see what happens.
Klomp's child makes up for his lack of hair.
Yeah, certainly.
Oh, look, I got a red thing because I've been wearing my Jays hat. I look kind of weird. Yeah?
There you go.
Are you going to get a haircut?
Oh, no.
No, okay.
You can't get a haircut. And that's another thing that makes me mad is you can't get a simple haircut to where you can line up with 40 people in a super mall. And in the same time, while you're waiting to cash your goods out, you would have had your hair cut from a hairstylist who is probably a little bit more sanitized when it comes to COVID than the people standing in line with you shopping for your essential items.
All right, Kinsman, last comment of the night. Then we'll close it out. Every virus mutates. This is not new. Maybe the general public did not know this. And I think a lot of, of course, you see a lot of opinions on social media, but I also see a lot of people who are trying to educate themselves in the science and the medical facts behind this. Yeah. And, a lot of the general public may not know that. And I'm just very curious, very hopeful and praying that whatever version of lockdown we're in right now is the last version of the lockdown and a return to a sense of normalcy.
Well, that's it. We need more normalcy here.
Okay, so we got a $25 beer card.
Yes, we do.
No one wanted to join us. I thought we'd have one.
Join us. So do we
All
just
right,
get
so
a winner?
We're going to do the old scrolling routine again.
The old scrolling routine.
So you tell me when to start, stop, middle. Tell me the middle, top, or bottom, where to start.
Okay, start now.
Okay.
And stop.
Stop?
Yeah. Chris, I'm super excited to shut down my business for a 3rd time. Love it. Of course, that's sarcasm. And we feel for Chris. Did he pop up his email so we can buy gift certificates? Gracie
did it, but we can share that. So we'll reach out to Chris. We'll get him that $25 beer card. And Chris, if you don't like a $25 beer card, then I know a guy by the name of Jamie Klomp that does like beer. Lori says, we're all in this together. Let's support one another and get through this civilly so the lockdown doesn't happen again. And Janice wanted to join, but her husband wouldn't let her. But Lori said it right. We are in this all together.
And we do have something planned for small businesses. This is something we just thought of this afternoon. Doesn't matter what you're doing in this city, in Timmins, surrounding area, jot it down when you do see the chance, and we're going to help back and give back to small businesses here in the city.
You got that right from Kim, and fantastic local provincial debate, guys. Yeah, it was an awesome night. A little bit of a different theme for us, but you and I felt it today too.
It's sad, we feel, and again, you hit it on the head when you first started. All these small businesses, you or I, we're a small business too, and it affects us. But again, these are the cards that were dealt. We can't just mope around. We need to trek along and do what we do best as independent broadcasters here in the city. And with our experience, we're going to give back to all these local businesses.
Lori, we can get you a KINZ and KLOMP mask.
Certainly
Reach out to us for the details. And Nat over at Smiles for Life. That's why look at these teeth, Kinsman. That's thanks to Smiles for Life.
Yeah, Natalie over there.
Even though I like to brush 6 times a day, and they tell me 3 only. So, Kinsman, between me and you, it's 6. But now
did you floss today? Natalie's watching.
Okay, Kinsman, I'm telling you over here, no, but Nat, yes, of course I floss. If we want, if we want our summer enjoyment, we need to all be safe.
Yeah, we certainly do.
Yeah, and Barry, yes, reach out to us. We'll set you up with
message us. You can inbox, myself on Messenger, Jamie Klomp in Messenger. You can hit up our KINZ and KLOMP Live Facebook page. You can message us through that inbox. If you want mass, we know MC Duguay does our mugs. We've got merch.
We'll set them up.
We'll get you hooked up.
But that's right. And send Kinsman a fax, and he'll get back to you.
A fax.
All right.
A fax with the facts.
That's right. So thank you so much, Timmins RV. Wonderful people. It's going to be an awesome camping season. One of the things that I can almost guarantee will be open will be recreational camping, amazing RVs, comfort, style, a budget for a lot of different folks, new and used. Store your campers there in the winter. They have a dumping station. Awesome. Get S'more event, $1,000 off. Don't pay for 6 months? 6
months and financing on site up to 20 years if you need it. So they do have the flexibility. And again, the one RV we showcased a few shows ago, cheaper than my car payment, Klomp.
Yeah, you like that line, eh, Kinsman? Cheaper than you're gonna need to buy a new car.
Well, it's just amazing all the stuff you get for a cheaper car payment. Yes. Where I don't have an island kitchen in my car. I've got a moonroof. That's about it. But I don't have seats, leather seats, a fireplace. It's amazing the necessities that you can get when you take the RV on the road.
Yes, and to our beautiful friends at the Surge, the new home of KINZ and KLOMP. Well, we will be there performing variety shows, stream shows, trivia. It's an awesome establishment. If you haven't been there, and when it's safe to return to do so, please go in there, check it out. Awesome service, staff, food, great drinks, reasonable, really good prices. Golf simulator, darts, pool tables. The place is awesome.
Ball, everything is there. It is just your one hot shot. Sit and watch something great on the big screen. Enjoy your friends. Who's that? Natalie says, it's Nat from. It's Nat from Timmins RV. Are there 2 Natalie Lavasiers?
Yeah, I did not know that.
Just learn something new every day. All right. Well, there's 2 amazing Nats here in the city.
Yeah, we're talking to the wrong Nat.
All right. Sorry about that, Nat. Again, Timmins RV. Nat is amazing, and the Natalie Lavasier over at Smiles for Life, also an amazing Nat.
Yeah, because it's tough.
It's her doppelganger.
It's tough to see the profile pics. All right, Kinsman. So that's it. I just want to say once again, a heart's goal to you all. Whether it's a personal situation, if it's your small business, we will be with you through this, and we appreciate and love you all. Have a good night.
Have a great night.